been like to have David Turin involved in this record?
It's been an incredible pleasure and such a great experience. I mean, I've been following David since probably 20 or 30 years. I saw him play with Jan Gabrek live in Zurich, and that was the first time I saw someone use extended delay time, and it was like a total eye-opener or ear-opener, if you will. And that has influenced me since then. I got into looping myself, and David was always someone, a pioneer in looping. And so it's been great playing with him because, let's say, Sonar is very confined and very composed music. I mean, there are elements of improvisation, but the important part is kind of the compositions. And now we have David with all his background that he's carrying from experience with thousands of musicians and projects that he's been working with. And he's bringing all this into the studio, and you can hear it. It's just, there's such a subtleness and emotionality that he brings. For me, it's been like we've been growing a beast with Sonar, but that it's been in a cage. And David has now come and has opened the cage, and the beast is coming out. And it's beautiful. It's just amazing. To work with David as a person has been an absolute pleasure. He's a great sense of humor, and still he is very dedicated to get the project done. So he has a very, very good approach to bring out the best in everyone involved, to make them feel respected as persons, to be taken serious, and having a good time at the same time. So it's been an absolute pleasure.
Is there something uniquely Swiss about Sonar?
Definitely. Actually, a lot of things are Swiss about Sonar. First of all, it's a Swiss band. Then I think there are some characteristics about Swiss mentality, or there are some qualities to Swiss or Switzerland, which is precision work, for example. Swiss are known traditionally for making watches, and that has something to do with a lot of precision, but it has also to do with relationships between numbers. When you make the cogwheels in a watch, they have certain relationships, and that is a very strong element in our music. So I think that is something particularly Swiss about our band. The other thing is we're very small, mobile. We do not require a lot of equipment to create our sound. And there's some understatement kind of embedded in this, which I feel is also a very Swiss trait. So I think you can find a few Swiss elements in our music, yeah.
Explain what the tritone tuning is and what it enables you to uniquely do.
The tritone tuning is something that Stefan developed to be able to play a particular piece that was otherwise unplayable. And he discovered that when he tuned the guitar in tritones, which means that we have the lowest string is a major third under the normal tuning of an electric guitar or an acoustic guitar. And then we have a tritone step, which is 3 whole tones. And then when you jump another 3 whole tones, you come to the original note, but an octave higher. So you get 3 strings that are tuned to the same. And then you have the tritone interval 3 times. So we have basically just 2 notes instead of 5 that you usually have on a guitar. And it enables us, particularly the harmonics that we play are particularly interesting in this tuning. So it sounds kind of sounds, and we play a lot of patterns in these harmonics with these harmonic sounds. So that's one of the things you can do. Another one is our power chord. That's when you press this fret, you get a tritone again, which ends up being 6 times the same note, which makes for a really powerful chord, because I mean, it's a monochord, if you will. You get 6 times the same notes in different octave layers, of course, but still it's always the same note, and yeah, that gives a really powerful sound.
How would you contrast your guitar approach with Stefan's and David's?
Stefan composed the pieces, and our, let's say what we're playing is kind of similar. It's different patterns that are interlocking, but we have very similar sound and approach. But David is like the foreign part that usually is not part of Sonar, and he has a very different approach, and he's much freer. His guitar is not tuned as ours are, and he's using all his background and all his experience in this hundreds and thousands of projects that he's been working in, and brings all that experience into a very strictly defined and very strict environment of what Sonar comprises.
How do you and Stefan keep out of each other's way?
First of all, pieces are composed, so it's basically the orchestration that makes us stay out of each other's way. And the other thing is, we're both very experienced in playing with loops, which teaches you, if you do this for a long time, you will learn to stay out of your own way. So you have a background loop going, and you keep adding to it or modifying it, and that really teaches you how not to interfere with something that's already going on.
Describe how you and Stefan work together to create guitar parts.
Often, one of us comes up with a very simple core idea, and we just play it and for extended time, and we try to hear different aspects and flavors within that, and evolve them into what will become the final piece. And it's basically repeating a part over and over and superimposing it with different ideas. And we have some kind of standard approaches to modifying or varying a pattern, which is superimposing it with another pattern that has a different length, or playing kind of the shadow part of the original part. Yeah, that's basically how we approach it. Yeah.
How do you and Stefan uniquely use a world of harmonics in your work?
Harmonics is what you get when you play a string on the guitar or any stringed instrument, and you force overtones that are contained by not pressing down the string, but just touching it in particular spots. For example, if you place the finger exactly at half of the string, you will get an octave higher. So this is the original string sound, and then this is the first overtone, which is an octave higher. And this is the second, third. So I get these kind of intervals when touching the string in particular spots. Now, if you combine this with the tritone tuning that is how we tune our guitars, you get very interesting and very unusual overtones that you don't normally get from a guitar. And that is, I would say, how we generate our sound. It's very, very important to our sound. And then we play single note lines using this particular tuning and harmonics, like for example. Or we use kind of in a chordal way, if you will, which on a normal guitar wouldn't necessarily sound interesting.
The only effect you and Stefan use is reverb. Tell me about the overall effects philosophy in the band.
Both Stefan and I have been exploring playing with lots of effects, lots of different effects, and we noticed that a lot of attention goes into configuring those effects and all the devices, and it kind of takes you away from the physical experience of working with the instrument. Meaning that when you have an effect, usually you have a pedal or you have knobs that you can turn, but they always represent some kind of abstraction, and there's no physical feedback that is related to the sound. While if you do this on the guitar, you have much more than just the auditory feedback. You also feel the vibrations of the strings. You feel when you hit the strings. You almost could play the guitar with your ears covered. You would still play in rhythm by just feeling the instrument. And these are aspects that we've been missing by concentrating on the effects and configurations and stuff. So it has taken us back to the instrument, and we've discovered so many effects, if you will, that you can attain just by the way you're playing, the angle of the plectrum, how strong you press on a string. These are all things that you kind of rediscover once you do away with all the effect pedals, and yeah.